Hey guys, back at you with another DIY. Today we're going to be looking at how to fix a running toilet. I actually have a couple toilets in my house that need different things. One, I think just needs some adjustment. The other definitely needs replacement of some parts.
I hope you're not using the toilet, it's broken.
So we're going to look at them both and kind of walk you step by step on what to look for and what to fix to make a toilet stop running. So let's do it. Okay, so here's the first one. Let's see what we got here. You may not be able to hear it, but I'll try to get the mic real close. You can definitely hear that it's running. Now, if you go down here and you shut the water supply off, you'll hear that that noise goes away. So now you hear it. Now you don't. I just turned off the water supply. I'm gonna turn it back on now. Okay, so we definitely have a problem. We have our water constantly running, and if you're on city water, that's gonna be very expensive over time. So we definitely wanna get this fixed. Now, this is, there's lots of different mechanisms. This has got the kind of traditional float, and this purple screw right there, you can actually adjust, and that will basically cause this guy to be higher or lower. Now, if I raise this, it also stops running. So that's just a simple adjustment that we can make with a flathead screwdriver. So, okay, you can hear it now. I'm gonna turn this screw clockwise and eventually you won't hear it anymore. There it is, it's off. So talking about an easy fix, that's all there is to that one. And we'll go ahead and flush and make sure that this stops right away. Okay, so it did not seem to stop right away. So we're gonna keep adjusting it. Okay, we adjusted that a few rotations, so let's give it another flush and see if that fixes it. Okay, so as you can see, that has actually not fixed our problem. All it's done is cause the water to shut off for the most part sooner, so there's actually less water going into the tank, which isn't necessarily what we want to do. It looks like there's some kind of a problem with maybe the buoyancy of this float. When you pull it up, it definitely stops the water flow, but obviously you shouldn't need to have to do that. So we're gonna keep looking here. Okay guys, so we made all the adjustments that we could. I thought another thing was this was actually rubbing against the side of the tank. I thought maybe that was preventing it from going all the way up, so I bent it a little bit. That did not solve it, obviously. We're still running. But now we hear something different. I don't know if you guys can pick that up, but there's a trickling now, which means our flapper right down there is not sealing properly. Somewhere there's basically a hole that it covers up and prevents the water from going into the tank. So somewhere it's not sealing. You know, this is an old unit, so we've got problem number one here. We got problem number two, it's just not stopping. Now, even if I push this flapper down manually, okay, so I've stopped the trickling, but that's still not it. I mean, that could be, it could be just the flapper. And if we stop the leak from the flapper, then you know, our inlet valve could potentially shut off, but it's still running. So what I'm gonna do is just replace this entire thing. Like I said, it's old anyway. So let's run to the store and grab that thing. Real quick before we run to the store, I know I'm gonna have to buy two valve complete systems because this is a different toilet. As you can see, it's the same version, and it's even worse. Let me turn it on. You can see This is another sign that you need to replace your system. This one also has a good example of what can happen to an old flapper. I talked about this before, but it's not supposed to look like that. It looks like somebody's sun hat or something.
How dare you!
It's supposed to be completely flat all around to seal against this hole right here. So the flapper obviously needs changed. The valve here obviously needs changed. So let's go run to the store and grab a couple of these guys. Okay, we're back, guys, and we are ready to start replacing this. The first thing that we're going to do is shut off the water, okay, and make sure the water level is full before you do that. And then we're going to flush it.
How about a courtesy flush over there?
Just one flush like normal. Okay, now we're going to mark that current water level right there with the pencil, because we're going to need to know that. Okay, next thing we're going to do is try to remove as much water as possible from this tank by flushing. So we're holding down this lever, and we want as much water as possible to leave the tank, because next we're going to be removing this guy right here. Well, actually, first we're going to remove the water supply line down here. And you're going to definitely want a catch basin, because water is going to be coming out of there like it is already. Okay, so now we're actually going to remove the valve. There's a mounting nut on the bottom side right there. So we need to loosen that with our wrench. Okay, we've got it loosened. Now we're just going to undo it with our fingers and just watch out for water. There should still be a seal up top, so we shouldn't get any water yet. Right now, definitely position this, because it's going to catch a lot of water here. There we go. Okay, that whole thing comes right out. Okay, so now we're gonna remove this whole tank. The two rusty bolts down there, those are what are holding the tank to the rest of the toilet. If you come down here, you'll see those guys right here. So we just need another wrench, and there's one on both sides. So we're just gonna remove the nuts and take them off the bolts. And you really just have to get them loose with that, and the rest you can just do with your fingers. Okay, so now that we have the nuts off of both of those bolts, we are just going to lift this entire thing straight up. The tank is going to come up. There's still water down here, so you're definitely going to have water seeping, spilling. I'm going to try to angle mine this way so it all goes out that hole into my catch basin. Okay, so that's what an old, nasty sponge gasket looks like. Definitely glad I'm replacing everything. Okay, so now we're going to remove this sponge gasket. Just pry it up. Oh, it's all crumbly. Nasty. There she comes. Oh, that's gross. Okay, so we got that off. The next thing we're gonna do, there's another mounting nut right here. It's a little bit bigger, but we need to remove that. And might need a big wrench for this. Guessing you probably do. Okay, so we got that on, and that's how easy it is with the right tool. Now we can get it with our hands. Okay, now that that's off, we can pull it out from the inside. Okay, we're just gonna use scissors to get this guy out. Okay, that guy's out of there. Okay, now might as well clean this up inside a little bit before we start putting the new stuff in. There we go, good as new. Okay, we're going to mount this down in the big hole there. Okay, so that should be sticking out like that. And on the underside, we do the washer and the nut. And we're gonna tighten that down. Okay, and it looks like they want this and this angle orientation. And another important point is we just want to hand tighten this. So once it's in the right orientation, we're gonna take this as tight as we can get it with our hands, but not gonna use any tools on it. Okay, so now we're ready to install our new gasket here. Okay, there we go. So we had to line up the holes, and that should mount just like that, flush to the bottom side of the tank. Okay, so now we're going to place our bolt. First thing we're gonna put on it is the rubber washer, like this. Okay, so now we're just gonna lift up the tank. We're gonna place the sponge gasket right in the middle of this hole, and then we're gonna place our bolts on either side and start to tighten up the bolts. Now when tightening these bolts on either side, we're gonna alternate so that our tank is tightened evenly and it's level. Important point about this, definitely make sure you don't over tighten these because the porcelain could crack. We definitely don't want that. Then you'd have to buy a brand new toilet. All right, now we're ready to install our valve. And then the height of this can adjust. If you just turn the top of this counterclockwise, it basically unlocks it so you can make it any height that you want. Okay, then we take our lock nut and go underneath and mount that. Okay, so once it's in there, we're gonna line up this so it's the same height as this. So we're looking at the bottom corner, right where my fingernail is. We're gonna make sure that that is the same height as the rim of your overflow. And once it is, then we lock it back in place like that, turning it clockwise. Now I'm actually gonna have to loosen this and turn it because they want it mounted at like a 45-degree angle. Okay, now we just attach this tube to that part right there, and then we feed this down through our overflow. Okay, so what I did off camera here, I loosened this so that I could rotate this. So this is pointed toward our valve. Then I mounted this metal clip, which we're going to install this tube. I already have it mounted on this side. The other end is going to fit right on that metal clip. All right, and it should look like that as your finished product. All right, the next step was to install the chain, which I'm sorry guys, I also had to do off camera just because it required two hands. But this little clip right here was originally attached to the end of the chain, which was too long. There should be minimal slack here. So, when you push this, obviously if there's way too much slack and you do that, it's not gonna lift the flapper up. So just minimal slack, should be pretty good about right there. Okay, now we're just going to reinstall our water supply line. We're just hand tightening this only. All right, we're ready to turn on the water again. Obviously, we're gonna be looking for leaks. I don't feel any with my hand. We're gonna let the tank completely fill up. That's our old water line. Looks like we're filling higher than that, which is okay, as long as it stops soon. There we go. So we can adjust that down if we want not as much water in the tank, water conservation, or if you want a more powerful flush, longer flush, you can have it. You can adjust it to your heart's desire. Okay, one thing that I see right away is there's more space between the water line and the bottom of the silver right here than there is from the water line and the rim of this. So that means that I didn't exactly level these out. So I just need to untwist this again, raise this up just a hair because we don't want water to be spilling into the overflow. Okay, now we're going to make a flush, and we're going to make sure the water level after we flush is equal to our pencil line. So we're actually going to turn the water off and Make our flush. It's right at our water line. I don't know if you can see it. Our pencil line is exactly where that water line is, so that's perfect. Here's a little trick to, if you want the same water level that you had before, fill your tank all the way up, and in my case it was over this line, over the old line. Then shut your water off, and then open the flap until the water level is at your old line or wherever you want it. Then rotate this to unlock it and adjust it up or down or wherever you want to have it. Okay, needed 2 hands for that, but that should be pretty close now. So now if we and turn our water on, it should stop at our old line. We're pretty close to it. There we go, close enough. Okay, so we are almost done, y'all. Last thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take our pencil, make a little pencil mark right where the current water level is in the bowl. And this is after a couple minutes after you make a full flush. Then we're gonna flush again. And we wanna make sure that the bowl the bowl water level reaches, okay, see we're way over, it's filling way too fast in the bowl itself. So we're basically gonna adjust this guy right here by closing that water valve a little bit. That's gonna slow the release of water in here, overflow, which is what fills up the bowl. So we're gonna have to do it again. The goal is to make sure that the tank and the bowl reach the top of their water marks at the same time. All right, let's try it again. It's still way too fast. This is only halfway done filling up. Okay, we got that worked out so they both reach the same level at relatively the same time. So that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoy this pretty simple DIY. I've got confidence that everybody watching this can do it themselves. Save yourself some money. Don't call that plumber. Put the money in your pocket. Do it yourself. So thanks for tuning in. Until the next time. Catch you guys later.
No, I was just shaving. Oh.